Yo, what's going on guys? It's your friendly neighborhood Amazon seller who just happens to be making six figures doing that. Just got a disclaimer right there. What's going on? Welcome to today's video. Hope you guys are having a great day. In today's video, we're gonna be talking about 5 tips I have for you when working with a supplier on Alibaba. Okay, so these are some important things you wanna know because this is serious business. We wanna make sure we're coming out professional and we don't get scammed, all right? So we're gonna be going through some of my 5 major tips that help me filter and get through suppliers and help get me great deals and stay safe doing this and running this business. So let's get into it. And of course, please do me a favor, like the video because it helps so much. I know a lot of people requested this type of video for suppliers and need help with that. So here's that video for you guys. So please like the video, share it if it's helpful. And if you do, I will bring out my puppy for some camera time, a little bit camera time, okay? So waiting, got it? Thank you so much. Okay, let's bring him. Hello everybody, meet Oogie. All right, Oogie, here's your camera time. Okay, take advantage of it. Hello, he's so big right now. All right, say thank you. Thank you for liking the video. Okay, back to a regular program, thank you. All right guys, so here we are on my computer right now and we're gonna be going on Alibaba to find and filter products. And we're gonna start off, once you search for a product on Alibaba, the first thing you wanna do before anything else after you search the product is make sure you check off trade assurance right here. Boom. So that's gonna first ensure that we're working with suppliers that actually can work with the safety of money exchange. So if anything goes wrong with the product, something's not up to par, we can get some of our money back or if all of our money back, right? So it protects the supplier as well. So it works both ways. If you have a lot of options, you can also check off verified supplier. This just means that they're just a little bit more legit. They're just more verified, right? So you can do that. Sometimes if you put verified supplier, you won't have a lot of supplier options. So at the bare minimum, you have to have trade assurance, okay? That's just the bare minimum. So that's the first tip. That's how we protect our money in case the worst case scenario goes wrong. We have trade assurance to protect them. Now, the next tip I have for you guys for number 2 is take a look at your supplier and look at the years they've been in business and how many transactions they've had. Okay, so we can see here, if we look right here in these icons right here, you're gonna see the location of where the supplier is and then also the number of years they've been in business. And then right under that, the transactions right here. So typically I wanna see a few years in business and a few $100,000s in transactions, depending on how big the product. If it's a smaller scale product, then a few thousand is okay. But the years in business definitely is kind of important to me. So right here, we can see this right here. So this one's in China, been around in business for 4 years, and they've had $80,000 in transactions. That's pretty good to me, right? That's a pretty good one to me. What you can also do is you can actually click on the product listing and then look on the side right here as well. So this company right here has been around for 7 years and they've done over $170,000 in transactions recently. I believe these are in the last 30 days, 30-day increments. Don't quote me on that, but the higher the number, the better because they have more transactions, more customers, they're more reliable. So that is the next big tip I have for you guys is checking the years in business and the number of transactions that they've had. Now, the next tip I have for you guys, number 3, is more so with the communication with your supplier. Now, one of the things that a lot of people are kind of nervous about is negotiation and how to find or get a good price when talking to your supplier. Now, when it comes to this, I feel like people kind of have the wrong idea about this and they think they can just lowball their suppliers and if they're asking for $1, they think they can get like 10 cents out of it or something like that, right? And that's not the case. Like you can't do that, right? They have to make money too and you have to make money too. So it's really about how you negotiate. And negotiation, you need to remember, is a give and take. You need to be able to give in order to take anything or receive anything from your supplier. So a big example is this. What I do is I kind of give them a lower MOQ of what I want first before I give them the real amount. So let's say I originally want to order like 600 units of a product, right? But what I go for is, hey, give me a quote for 300. I want to see where they're at. 300, 600, 1,000, right? And then they'll give me 3 different quotes on the different quantity amounts. And what I'll say is, this is originally what I want is 300, but then to negotiate, I'll say, hey, I will instead go for 600 units if you could offer me this price. And I'll go for the lowest price that they offered previously, which was maybe like usually the more units you order, the cheaper the price is, right? So I'll go for the price that they offered at 1,000 units, right? And then I'll say, hey, you know what? Instead of 300 units, I'll go 600 units if you give me this price. So what I'm doing is I'm offering to buy more and spend more if they offer to lower the price per unit. And that's what you want to do. That's just a simple example of how you give and take. You got to be able to give something in order to take and get some benefit out of it, right? So one of the easiest ways to do that is just simply by ordering more. And if you start off with a lower MOQ number in the first place, it's going to help a lot with that. Okay, so tip number 4 is, how do you pay suppliers? What is the safest way to pay your suppliers? And right here is how I'm going to show you guys. So there's a few methods that you can do to pay your supplier directly through Alibaba, but there are fees, all right? So more fees, there can be some expensive fees depending on how big your order is, but here are some of the options that we have, right? So some of the main ones that I use, number 1 is credit card, right? Credit card is probably one of the easiest ways to pay your supplier, and one of the safest as well, because you're backed up by trade assurance, but also you're backed up by your credit card company, right? So that is one of the best ways, very quick, very convenient, but it does have the highest transaction fee, right? So you can end up paying a couple $100s more if you have a really big order, a couple thousand more if you have very, very large orders. So it has the highest transaction fee. The next up one is, recently they just added this, is PayPal and Apple Pay, which are also great ways to pay because those are very secure. And if anything goes wrong, you can get your money from back from that, especially for PayPal. If anybody know about PayPal, you know PayPal got your back all the time. So PayPal is a great way to doing this. So is Apple Pay, but you got to remember that the transaction fee is pretty high on that. Again, big orders, you're going to be paying an extra few $100s for that. And then finally, the last way to do it is wire transfer. And this is the cheapest way. It's only $5 for a transaction fee. It's very, very cheap. So that's one of the best ways if you're more on a budget. But the thing about wire transfers, it's not very easy to do because you have to put a lot of bank information. And if you get one digit wrong, you could send your money off to some random. So just make sure if you're doing wire transfer, make sure all the info is very, very correct, all right? And in a lot of cases, it's a lot harder to get your money back with that just because it's still safe, but it's just harder just because it's a wire transfer. So it's directly being paid instead of credit, right? So wire transfers are more difficult, but they're the cheapest, but I still use them. When I first started, I was using wire transfers. I was just really careful and very selective about my suppliers, okay? So these are the best ways to pay: credit card, PayPal, Apple Pay, and wire transfers. Okay, tip number 5 that I have for you guys is get an inspection. Always get a product inspection before you tell your supplier to ship your product or have your freight forwarder pick up the product, okay? You can easily get an inspection directly through Alibaba when you have an order, and you could get from any of these 3 guys right here. Any of these guys work just fine. You could just get the basic level, which is like 118. I typically go for the level 2, which is a little bit more expensive, but they check more products. They do a little bit more work, and I think it's worth it for just peace of mind. Peace of mind knowing that, hey, my products are good and my customer is gonna have a great product coming their way. So peace of mind, but always do inspection checks. If your products fail inspection, you can get your money back. That's what's great. So you put 30% down, you can get your money back if the inspection fails, all right? So that's one of the great things about this, especially since it's directed to Alibaba. It's a lot more secure that way. So must do this always before you ship your product out, okay? So those are the 5 tips I have for you guys for working with suppliers and finding suppliers as well. I hope this was very, very helpful. Again, like the video if it was very helpful. And as always, I will see you guys in the next one. Go make that money. Peace.